Well, I screwed up on that one. I'm so sorry, everybody. That was the wrong video. You know, that's how my week's been going. It's been unbelievable. But anyway, we'll get past it. It's all good. At least I didn't wreck. Welcome to Andromeda 7, your celestial gateway, your channel for community support, help, friendship, love, knowledge, and just plain being of value to others. Welcome back. And if you're new to the channel, good to have you with us. And now I'll pass it on to Theresa, our hostess with the mostest.
Most what?
Whatever you want.
It ain't strange, baby.
Goodness.
Ah.
All right, good evening, everyone.
Well,
Thank you for coming. And as people are trickling in, I'd like to give a special thanks and appreciation to all of our viewers, whether you're in the chat room or not. It's good to have you with us. And thank you for your subscriptions. We appreciate it. We reached 500. So now we could do a little bit more, have a little bit more flexibility with how we advertise things. So
community posts.
Yeah, community posts, keep you updated on things. So thank you very much for your continued support and friendship. We really appreciate it. And as usual, like I said at every show, if you want to come on, just let me know. Send us an email. It's in our link. And we'll talk to you and see what we can do to bring you on, especially if you have a product or service you want to show us or just a story you want to tell. We greatly encourage that participation. And we have worldwide people all over the world joining us. So it's a good time. Good time. All right. Well, a quick shout out to folks in the chat room. We have with us this evening Julianne Margaret, who's part of our panelists. She's in both places. Jules is like a goddess. You know, she's everywhere. Chloe, good to see you, Swiss sister. Good to see you. Deborah Sloan, always a pleasure to have Deborah here with us. And thank you both for helping to promote the show, by the way. Appreciate it. I see what you're doing out there in the chat rooms. Really, really, really appreciate it. Let's see who else is here tonight. We have Brenda. Hi, Brenda, Milky's mom. And Ken Isby. Thank you. Good to see you, Ken. Hope you're doing okay today. Let's see. David Castle, brother. David Castle never misses a show in this Soul Tribe community. He's in every chat room, everywhere. He's another one that's like Jules. He's self-replicating.
Him and Rufus never disappoint.
That's right. So anyway, I think I got
Elderberry,
Brother Barry.
And Alan. I haven't seen her in a while. Good
to
have
Anne's
you with
here.
us,
Hi,
Anne.
Anne. Good to see you. And Barry's here.
Yeah,
and
Linda Brooks.
Linda Brooks. Hey, Linda. Just chatting with her a little earlier. Great show today with Linda and Jules and others on Wayne's show. That was fun. Let's see. We have Mary Wins. I thought I saw her in here at one point too.
Linda and Jules.
Yeah, got Linda and Jules. Anybody else? Let's see. No, that's it for now. So folks will be trickling in. They usually do over the next few minutes. I do have, we have a special guest with us tonight. And we'd like to thank Jules for bringing on yet another one of her Australian counterparts, Ben Mitchell. Welcome,
Hello.
Ben. Welcome.
Theresa and everybody, thank you very much. It's a pleasure and a privilege to be here. All these smiling faces and smiling and love emojis in the feed there.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you'll see more of them throughout the show. Hi, Project
Cool.
Skyfalls. Good to see you, too. And I apologize if I've missed anybody because the chat bounces up and down here on my list. It goes back and forth. I can't get it to stabilize. Anyway, so before we get into Ben's story and what he's all about, let's talk real quick about a poem that I picked up from Brenda. And it isn't because I'm just signaling in, hi CZQ, on Brenda. CZQ, I love you. It's because of the content that she always seems to come up with. And this is an interesting poem. Kind of fits in with what we're going to be talking about tonight in terms of freedom. She found a poem about the national bird of the Ukraine. It's called The Nightingale. And she posted it a couple of days ago on Facebook. And so I'm going to go over that reading real quick. Let's see. I brought it up in my photo directory here. So listen to the words here of this poem. It's really something. And I fell in love with it, and I just wanted to share it. So thank you, Brenda, as usual. As walls around her crumble, and walls of teardrops fall, the small, the mighty out her tranquil call. Its beauty breaks through bloodshed, a spark of hope at night, and a call for all to rage against the dying of the light. The widowed wives of warfare take up their lovers' posts. They sweep through streets in silence, like grieving, vengeful ghosts. Their spirits, slung like missiles, rain like fire from the sky, as all rise in resistance at the nightingale's cry. The brazen bears, befuddled, huddled in their tents and tanks, their triumph once more thwarted, dreams distorted by the ranks. Of all those fearless fighters rising up against the night, for love of God and country, their impassioned hearts unite. The world around is watching, a witness to the pain and heartfelt inspiration of the people of Ukraine. We give what we can offer, we join as one to pray that this imprisoned nightingale will sing another day.
Wow. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Wow.
Absolutely. Thank you,
Nice.
Brenda.
Nicely done.
Thank you for posting that, Brenda.
Thanks, Brenda.
Very
Thanks,
beautiful.
Brenda.
So anyway, I just thought it was fitting for
Yes.
tonight because so tonight is about freedom, and Ben's going to teach us a little bit about what he does with music and his music movement, freedom movement. So Jules, why don't you tell us a little bit about Ben and how you hooked up with him, and then we'll toss it over to Ben.
Well, I'm going to let Ben take the floor because he's the one that musician and how he happens to get involved in what we did in our community. So Ben can tell the story right from the very start.
Very, very happy to. So I've been vocal about freedom since it's come under obvious challenge over the last 2 years, especially here in Australia. And I had a channel for a while called Friends of Truth, where I was just sharing information about mostly from government sources or from other expert sources that challenged the narrative that was being fed to us all, or those of us who were watching mainstream media. Many still are, and so many are still being fed a lot of lies and propaganda regarding everything that's going on. Mm-hmm. But I was vocal, and I started to articulate what I thought was obvious in a way, that we have certain freedoms that we're born with, and that no man or organization especially has any right to interfere with. Those inalienable rights that are talked about in the American Constitution. But beyond that, rights that are God granted. As I said, when we're born, we are free. Being birthed is something different, and I learned a lot about that and the legalese that we are tricked with daily, really, in our lives until we wake up to what is going on. So anyway, the reason I'm sharing all that is because I had certain people following me, and one of those people was Jen, who is a local Gympie activist, amazing spirit, and she invited me to come play at Gympie and at one of their community gatherings that Jules is a part of organising. And so I said, yes, I'd love to. There was border restrictions between the states, believe that or not. So they hindered getting there. Then there was a bit of a flood in Gympie, actually, so they cancelled that. Anyway, they invited me back again. I said, yes, I'll definitely come this time because those obstacles weren't there. And then they said, oh, actually, we haven't got a we haven't got a sound system. Which could you help us with that? And a couple of acts have pulled out, and so it worked out very well because I had started Free the Nation Music, which is a website and movement, if you will, to bring together musicians who stand for freedom of choice. They started in this country stopping people going to music gatherings, events, venues, if they hadn't had 2 doses of an experimental gene therapy, which is quite common in the world, and people are talking about these things. So Free the Nation Music was started to say, we play music for everyone, no exceptions. It's a radical idea, I know, but that's what brought us together. So we were saying, we'll play for you no matter what your medical history. I'm not, as a promoter, as a musician, I'm not interested in it. That's your choice, whatever you want to do. We are making music for everybody. And so I had these other musicians, which we had a few from the Free the Nation Music. We'd done maybe 2 concerts before Gympie. And so I came up to Gympie, where Jules is based. And how we met was she kindly offered her home up to us, us being myself and my wife and 3 kids and a friend visiting from Victoria.
Wow.
And yeah, so we all were blown away by Jules's hospitality, her cooking, and her spirit. So Jules, thank you, darling. It's been a pleasure to meet you and to build our friendship. And I think it's a lifelong one, cemented in that visit.
That's awesome.
Thank you, Ben.
That's awesome.
I'd love to taste your cooking. I would love that. Seriously.
No, we're all going to land on her doorstep one day.
Yeah.
She's going to put us all up.
Well, she's coming to you in May, so she can do some cooking there.
That's very true. That's very true.
Yes. We're visualizing that one.
Yeah, I am too. I had 2 French guys and a
Excuse
young
me?
French.
Yeah, sounds like the beginning of a joke. These 2
Lucky
French
you.
guys showed up at Jules' house.
Ian was home.
Uh-oh.
Excuse me.
Uh-oh.
Oh, that makes it even.
Yes, I know where you've gone. Stop it, Theresa. There was 2 young French gentlemen and one of their partners, which was Adriana. They came yesterday for lunch. I'd had a previous meeting with our community group that's organising some things, and then got home and had lunch prepared for these. And they came and walked around the garden like your family did, Ben, and their boot was full of seeds and plants and cuttings. And I was thinking today they'd be really good young gentlemen of their points of view as young men living in Australia coming from France. Mm-hmm. They'd be another couple that'd be really good to bring on the show, because they are so switched on for a 25-year-olds, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to understand their French accents a little bit at times, but you know, it's fun.
I can imagine.
It's fun. So that's, you know, as most people in our community know, that I share a lot of stuff from my garden and my home, and Ben happened to be one of the recipients that got to see how beautiful our place is. But yeah. Ben, it's very muddy at the moment.
I can imagine. So for those of you who might not be aware, I'm in the northern New South Wales region, which is known as the Northern Rivers, and Jules is in Gympie, which is in Queensland. Both of those regions were devastated by the recent floods, and we are still we're in the middle of the recovery phase. Well, not we're at the beginning of the recovery phase.
We're only at the beginning.
But the great thing about it is the spirit of the people have come together, the community across the nation too, not just locally. And I was able to get some fundraising going, and people were donating, and we're putting cash directly in the hands of people who have been affected. So the spirit, someone said it took 2 years for COVID to separate people and 2 days to bring them back together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the community spirit that we have, you know. We're a multicultural country, and we're not, you know, it comes across that we're racist, but I don't find that. We aren't that at all. We're such a young country, but it's very old. It's a very old country, but we haven't got all the infrastructure that a lot of other countries have.
Mm-hmm.
So we are young at heart.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep.
No.
What is the convoy of freedom? You were involved. I saw that on your website. You were involved at one point with the convoy of freedom there in Australia.
Well, I was involved in so much as I wrote a song called Convoy of Freedom to celebrate the Australians and people from all over coming together to challenge the authorities. And I didn't actually go to Canberra. I had other commitments here, but a lot of people. Canberra. I was in Gympie. We were doing the Freedom Day there because I was committed to that. So I stuck with my commitment. But the point of the convoy was to go to the Australian capital of Canberra, probably the cesspit centre of the country, if not world, and challenge the authorities there by all the good people just gathering. And so, but the great thing about that convoy was that people who may not have gathered together and seen themselves as allies did. And they realized that people from all walks of life had the same dream of returning or advancing to a more normal and more free life, one that's less hindered by the corporate governments. And a lot of the people in this country are starting to understand what it actually means to a corporate government, that these are businesses that are set up and that they trick us into believing that they're democratically elected people's representatives. And that's not the case at all. It's a great illusion that I was under for most of my life as well. And so the great thing about people just coming together, standing side by side, shoulder to shoulder, and looking each other in the eyes and helping each other, feeding each other, giving each other support in believing that we can and are creating a brave, beautiful new world that is more free than we have ever been.
Yeah. Well, that's part of the new energy. Definitely. It's part of the light work that we're doing and the value-added services that we're providing. You have a very, I was looking at your videos of how you're handling this fundraising effort for these survivors of the flood. And you're personally going out there and delivering their checks to these people. You're handing them checks or cash.
Wow.
How are you getting to them? I mean, how is that travel?
Well,
all that travel.
Well, I'm right in the middle of it. Our home got a little bit of flooding in the garage, but it often does anyway where we live. But down, a block away, people's houses were flooded, and then 2 blocks away, devastated, and 5 kilometres into Mullumbimby or whatever it is from here. I was talking to a real estate agent friend yesterday who's estimated to 30 to 50% of the homes have been flood damaged, and that would probably be an underestimate. So how I've done it happened on Instagram, on my personal Instagram page. Someone said, I'd really love to donate to someone, and in the way it was phrased, it was sort of implied that could I help, or that's how I took it anyway. And I said, look, if you send me the money, I'll give them cash tomorrow. And so that just escalated into a lot of people saying, who trusted me because they've seen that how I am, I guess, and that I speak from my heart in my writings and my posts on both my personal Instagram at Ben_Mitchell_man and Free the Nation Music. So we've had scores. I haven't added it up yet, but it'd probably be getting around 20 grand.
Wow.
That in 5 days, I was up there, it'd be between 10 and 20, that I was able to give cash, the next day, as soon as once it's cleared.
It's like, how are you doing that?
Well, I've got a numbers Excel sheet, and when people deposit, I put how much it's going to be, or when they email me, their name, how much it's going to be, and then I've got a column that says if it's cleared. So if it's cleared into my account, then I know I've got that money, hopefully, as long as the banks don't do a bank trick.
Yeah, they're tricky, all right. Tell me all.
I'll take my personal cash, put it in an envelope, sitting at this desk here. I write the name on the envelope, and then there's a few names, and then I've got this envelope with got $1,000 $500 or $500 or 2,000. I think we gave 4,000 to one person. And then I go down and I give it to them. And I know who's affected because they're my friends or they're part of my community, and I know their story, and I know that they're...
Yeah, I was just getting ready to ask you, because it looked to me like a lot of the folks are folks who, like yourself, provide a value-added service to the community. They're the people that served the food to the community, provided the clothing, provided the stores. And so are you doing it that way to, I mean, that's the best way to help rebuild a community, is to go after the people who are the service providers, providing the services that people can't get right now.
I think that it got, what happened with this this series of events, or this flood and the messages, was I don't really think that charity is always the best way to help, just giving out to people, because we have to empower ourselves. I think it says, the Bible, teach a man to fish rather than give a man a fish. Teach a man to fish and he'll eat forever. Give him a fish and he'll eat for a day. And that's a great proverb or saying, because it's got so much truth in it. And I know from my own life, when I was at different phases where I might have felt disempowered and sought charity in different ways, help me, that sort of mentality, rather than I can help myself and I'm going to make myself better and stronger and whatever, I'm going to provide for myself. I mean, to get to that mindset, for me has probably been a bit of a journey where I don't really, I stopped taking government handouts. There's certain funds that they give you if you sign up to the government, and if your income's a certain level, or if you've got kids, or there's all sorts of ways that the government seeks to control you by giving you money. And we can all see where it's headed, where they're going to have so much control that they'll decide how do you spend that money, where, and they've done that already in Australia. So yes, to your point, Theresa, of giving it to, how do you create more worth, more energy, more light with this cash, which is just a form of energy in itself. And I guess what I've hopefully done is identify, not too thinking about it too much, but the people that are in my vibration at the moment are like that. They're not thinking about themselves, they're working for others, but you have to take care of yourself to do that.
Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. And so one great example is Jupiter, a young girl who has a fruit, woman, I should say, a juicing business that she just started. Now, she doesn't live in a flash house or anything. She was renting in this studio opposite paddocks, and it flooded, and she lost her juicer, which was central to her business, and her computer, also central to her business. Now, okay, there's more important, you need food, yes, you need clothes on your back, and you need somewhere to live, but those items will help her if she decides to use the gift that we gave her, the donation, to serve others and to bring nourishment to others. And she actually introduced me to a woman, a young, I could say she was a girl, who she was going to help, and I went and visited her, and she, this sort of she really needed nourishment and the energy that someone like Jupiter can give. Flynn and his family, another guy is they're separated, so he's got the two girls, and he's a musician. He also runs a business cleaning up. I mean, his business is going around and cleaning up, helping people get rid of their rubbish, and and I guess spiritually he might not see it that way, or he might clean up their lives and get on with it. And he's a musician of some standing in the Australian independent scene, and he's constantly giving his energy out, and now he's just been told they've got to move out of the rented home because there's some asbestos walls apparently. Now, this is a home they've just spent the week cleaning up, right? They've just spent the week cleaning up this home, and now they've got to find new accommodation. So
and people do hire you, or maybe hire's the incorrect word. They work with you to bring music to their community festivals and events, like Gimpy did, to help share a message of hope and healing. And most of your songs are about that. And you have a new one out called, is it My Captain?
This is your captain speaking.
This is your captain speaking.
I like that.
And it is really cool. I like the video, the video with it too. Yeah.
Oh, great. Well, it's a bit of a country tune that was inspired by my conversations with the Qantas pilot, Captain Graham Hood, who resigned / lost his job because of the vaccination mandates here, and because he stood up and made a video that went viral. I don't know if you guys have all seen it. If you haven't, you should check it out. He was one of the first sort of respectable looking, fatherly figures to come out in Australia and say, hey, I reckon this is going a bit wrong, guys, and we need to talk about this, because the media, the mainstream media especially, have done a great job of controlling the narrative, controlling the idea. Yeah. Right, that anyone who talks against it is a crazy, whatever name they want to give you. I'm not even going to repeat them, but you know the names, right? They're crazy, so we don't need to consider their opinion. They're crazy. We don't need to look at them. We only need to look here, everybody. We've got it for you, right? Here's the box, right? What we got? It's deadly. It's deadly. It's going to kill you. And if you don't do what we say, we're all going to die. And anyone different, right? Hold on. That's not the truth. Here comes a guy who's carried people, who's had people's lives in his very hands for his whole career as a pilot. And we've trusted him without knowing him, without meeting him. We've trusted him because he's a pilot. And we know that they've got to, have a certain amount of ability and sense to guide a ship carrying hundreds of people through the air and land them safely. So when he came out, it was a revelation for a lot of Australians that finally someone was speaking up. So I'm writing a book with him. We met at a community gathering and hit it off, and basically shares the same values, different types of people. But and he actually called me up he messaged me and he said, I reckon we should do a version of Eric Clapton's Tears in Heaven, duet. It'd be great, Ben. It'll really stir people up. and I'm like, well, that's cool, Graham, but it's not really sort of my thing. I'm a songwriter. Anyway, that I took 5 minutes later, I'd sent him a recording of a song I just wrote then, inspired by him, and asking that out, and he loved it, and so I went away and finished it and recorded it and released it, and so but the idea of This Is Your Captain Speaking, I guess, is that it's a very spiritual metaphor to it as well, because
yes,
we can be our own captain as well when we plug into that source energy.
Wonderful.
And I'm not sure if Karen, one of the links that we gave on the website for him was one of his music videos. I can't remember if we clicked. I know we had it on there. And There's
the Free the Nation video, I think, and there's the flood video was there, and then the link to Free the
there it is,
the Captain Speaking is there as well. No, that's the the music video is up at the top part.
Now this one here,
Lori, right there, Free the Nation, I think.
Is that the music video?
I think that's a music. Yeah, I think that's a music.
Why don't
video.
We play it and see, give people an idea.
Where the love and freedom keep us, our hearts don't miss in pieces. The future is for our taking. Together we have come to free the nation. With love and freedom, free the nation. With love and freedom, we're the ones who won't be silenced. Our souls with perfect timing. Now the world is awakening. Together we have come. Free the nation. With love and freedom. Free the nation. With love and freedom. From dusk to dusk, from dusk till dawn, we're all getting busy born. From me to you, from you to me, we create the world. we choose to see. Where the change that's long been coming, our past no longer running us. History is for our making. Together we have come to free the nation. With love and freedom, 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 free the nation. Free the nation. Free the nation. Free the nation. Free the nation.
That was awesome.
Awesome. Yeah.
That was awesome.
That was awesome.
Thank you, Ben. Yeah.
All
wasn't
his
it?
songs
Thank you.
are- all
Yeah.
his
Thank you.
songs, yeah. Really opens you up and just makes you feel really good. All of
I loved it.
his songs, yeah.
Thank you. It's one of the things that I've always strived to do with my music is not just not focus on the positive, but do that. Focus on the part that is empowered, that can not just see the light, that can be the light. Connecting to light when you're in the dark. That's the
Yes.
thing I want to do with music. It's easy, it's easy to say, geez, it's dark, and go to the dark and all these dark things are happening, and I'll find the evidence and I'll share the evidence, and then we'll put a heavy beat on and turn it up and we'll be depressed for the rest of our lives. Yeah, we can all go down that road, but
Many do. Many
yeah,
do.
that's right.
Many get sucked into that and they just can't help it, So
2 thumbs up from Scotty Boy.
I
Thanks.
love that.
We've only got 2 thumbs. That's all thumbs up.
Boom, boom.
well, I knew this community, and so did Jules. We knew our folks would love that.
Absolutely.
Your whole repertoire is fantastic, and people can go over there onto his website from ours. You can link to his, and he has a list, a song list. Now you write the lyrics yourself, and you do the vocals, and you do the guitar.
Yep.
You team up with other musicians as well.
There's a song, We Come Together. I've just uploaded it to my Bandcamp page, which I don't even know if I want to say this, but my Bandcamp page got deleted when I first put Free the Nation music,
yes, I know.
up there.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. There's another album called Are You Going to Be Free, which I wrote, which is all about what's going on. And I'm not sure whether it was that or but anyway, it disappeared. But I got back on, and I just recently thought I'll give it another shot, and I put it up there because the great thing about Bandcamp is that you get a really good share of the money. So people can pay whatever they want. You can listen to it for free, and then you can pay whatever you want, basically. So it's a good way to, as an independent musician, to raise some money. So to answer your question, yes, I teamed up with Ty. Ty is a drummer based in the States. I've got a feeling he's near you, Grandpa Brian. I don't know. I know he's in LA a bit of the time, but he tours a lot. And he played drums on it. And then some other, Becky Collada, and she's in LA. And then a couple of other local musicians, Delacoma and Matty. He's got a stage surname, and I just forget it at the moment. But anyway, they're on my Bandcamp and page because they sung on We Come Together, which was a great thing, collab to do, because that's what we're doing. We're coming together, all these Free the Nation musicians.
That's great.
It's awesome.
Right. Yeah, that is.
You have got international guests, haven't you, that are on Free the Nation as well, haven't you, Ben? It's not just Australians.
Oh, no. We've got a whole lot of Americans, especially UK as well. We've got people like 5 Times August. Now, he is doing fantastic. He played in Washington at the Steps. he has written some of the best songs out of this freedom movement time, I think, that are out there. 5 Times August, you should check him out, definitely. All the musicians have links on our website, freethenationmusic.com/musicians is the actual page. Jimmy Levy got on very early on to show his support, and he's both these guys, 5 Times August and Jimmy Levy, have had number ones recently on the charts, the Apple charts and some Apple Music charts, Amazon charts like that, in their genres, singer-songwriter style, 5 Times August, and hip-hop for Jimmy Levy. There's a bunch more, which I won't be able to name them all. In England, I don't know, you guys, you remember, some of you will remember Right Said Fred, I'm Too Sexy.
Yeah.
So they had number ones in 70 countries.
Wow.
They are one of the few famous musicians in the United Kingdom to stand up for freedom of choice. Also, so they're on our website. But there's a few others too. Straylings are out of UK. Again, apologies to any musicians watching that I don't mention, but we love you all and we appreciate you all being there. Of course, it helps when there's more famous names to draw attention to what we're all doing. Eric Clapton has famously spoke out. So did Van Morrison. Ian Brown, who is an indie musician of some great success worldwide. He's not on our website, but he does speak up for freedom of choice. There's just so few big names that are doing it, unfortunately.
Yeah. Well, for those of us who grew up in the 60s and 70s, they were one on every street corner. Now they're hard to find, apparently. Yep. I mean, there has to be like when the World Trade Center collapsed, or a major event for them to come out and sing something or share that music. But so it's inside of them to do it. They just hold back because people have become numb.
I think it's so much, Theresa, is the conditioning of the star system, if you will, of fame, of connecting money, and how many systems control the money that we can make, the living as musicians. And so I know that there is a handful of organisations that really that sort of run the music business.
Yeah.
And if you don't do if you don't subscribe to the party line, then you ain't welcome. You can't.
Yeah.
Like the Country Music Awards had a double vax ruling, I believe.
Oh boy.
So you couldn't come to the awards unless you were double jabbed. So and what people might not realise too, and I think this is important to share, is that I know that there are festivals in Australia that are only open to double vaccinated people. And but there are musicians playing there that haven't been double vaccinated. So there's a double standard going on behind closed doors or in front of them. I don't know what it is. But the point is that the general public might not be aware that there's one rule for thee and another rule for them, or whatever. And I just don't think that's a good place to be. It's a lie, basically, that why should I, as a punter, have to have that double jab, and the musician on the stage doesn't. That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
There's also something else you mentioned, which I thought was interesting, about how in the music industry, there's a lot of bullying going on. There's discrimination. How is that impacting these performers, and is that because bullying in what way? Are they trying to prevent folks like you all from being outspoken, or are they?
Oh, most definitely. But that comes from, that's the social engineering that's happening anyway. I have lost I lost friends who were musicians that I'd known for many years, who just didn't even want to look at my feed anymore because of the sort of stuff I was sharing, which was going against the nightly news, which was just saying, hey, you're allowed to question. So the bullying is subtle, and then it's overt as well. I've also had people, just be very aggressive in their comments and saying, just we don't want to question. Thank you. That's my wife bringing in some soup. These are a good bunch. we're all very casual here and relaxed. There's Julie. Julie, yeah.
Go ahead, Dalibor. Did you want to add in?
Well, see, that's the thing. They, the other musicians, they're afraid of cancel culture. They're afraid of possibly losing some money over this.
Yep.
And I'm seeing the cancel culture over here. I mean, as of this week or sometime this week, I can't access any of the Russian news sites here in Germany.
Oh,
None.
wow.
It's like, and anytime I see censorship like that, you know, which is one of the aspects of cancel culture, all I can do is laugh, because if you're that afraid of the truth, then your truth is built on a house of cards. It's a castle made of sand. It's a house of cards, and it's gonna go. If you know, just a simple fact can like dislodge the whole structure, then you have nothing to stand on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it has to do with people and their ability to change narrative. People are comfortable with their own narrative, and anything outside of their reality or their routines or their scripts and their day that makes them who they are in their life and how they interact with anything, and anything that questions that narrative of what their basic belief system, it throws them off and it makes them uncomfortable. And people, depending on their strength of character or where they are in their path and where their energy is and everything, they'll definitely completely shut anything off directly. You'll find, right, Ben, like if it's just against that narrative that makes anything, makes them feel uncomfortable or makes them have to think or to open up to anything other than what they're accustomed to. People like they're normal.
I would also like to point out also a response to a question that one of the viewers asked me, like if I'm of Balkan origin. I should point out that despite my name, no, I'm not of Balkan origin. I was born in Czechoslovakia 3 weeks after the Soviet invasion in 1968. All right. Now, my parents, when I was 3 months old, my parents made the decision to flee Czechoslovakia. So we moved to Austria and then the United States. But I should also point out the fact that I have a lot of friends in Russia. And to this day, I do not hold any grudges against the Russian people or the Soviet Union, because it was a big nothing burger. And the number of people that got killed during that invasion was 136, I should point out. And they stayed for 21 years as occupiers of my country. Wow. In other words, it was nowhere nearly as bad as the 600,000 people that died when the Germans took over my country and stayed for just 6 years. So, you know, I hope that explains something.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think it's a really interesting what's going on, Karen. I agree with everything you said about terms of the psychological trauma that people are going through or not willing to go to, and because we all sense how far we can go and what challenges we can have to our paradigm, the way that we see the world and how we function in it, and what is really interesting. It's exhausting as well, is this shift in the narrative now to war. Now, without getting into it, Dalibor, that was very helpful what you shared, I think, for some of those comments. But it's so swiftly been replaced. It's like a magician just going, you're looking at COVID, war. And we'll tell you what to think too. You've got no, you don't have to think. I'm just flabbergasted at how quickly people have got passionate positions on something that's happening way away, like where they've got no idea about the actual facts. None. They've only got what they're fed in the mainstream narrative.
Yeah.
And I just think, did you not learn anything by the last 2 years? Magic trick still going, right? Keep looking.
Exactly.
Keep looking. It's really easy, because what are they going to do next? They'll put something next there and you'll go, okay, that's what I care passionately about now. And how about this? How about we care passionately about living free and respectfully with each other? Don't give an F about what's happening in some other country. Now, we're connecting, and I care about connecting across any border, of course. and having open conversations that aren't censored, because none of us here have got anything to fear. We can listen, and if I say something crazy you don't like, it's not going to change your idea. You're solid in yourself, right? But if I say something that you relate to, it's just going to build on that energy, and you're going to go, oh, they're not all crazy in Australia, even though they, you know, in Victoria, where I fled, or I left, they've got, you know, they're asking you if you've got a double vaccination to sit down and have a coffee.
Well, Ben, I'm in Canada. So Canada is the same as Australia. We're from the Commonwealth, and we're in the same position. We're still under the passport, mass vaccination, and so I'm going through the same kind of things here.
And you know what? That's great to hear. Not that you're free in Gympie, but you know what? There's also people free in Victoria, and there's also people free in Canada. Now, they do not want that story out there, right? But I went to Victoria with Free the Nation Music to do a concert, and it was our 4th concert, and I wasn't without some anxiety, but I didn't concentrate on that, because I know how hard it is there, like Canada, and we have musicians in Canada as well. So I share that story. We went to a venue there was no mask, there was no signing in, there was no anything, and they serve meals, you know. So down the road, they're asking, you know, the same town, there's other people who are going along with the corporate governments. And I say corporate governments as to remind people always that they aren't truly democratically elected. It's all an illusion. These are businesses. And when we get into the mandates, mandate is an offer. When you accept that mandate, you're basically going into business with them. Okay, I'll do it on. But you know,
it's not a law.
That's right. It's not a law. And a lot of this we need to educate ourselves on. But my point is, there are people around the corner from you, Karen, I know, who won't be going along with it, there might not be many, there might not be as many as we'd like, but they're the people that I love and I want to empower by celebrating. And Free the Nation Music is just doing that with the musicians. We're just saying there's musicians everywhere who aren't going to play that game of fear and control, because that's all it is, right?
I never have. Ben, I haven't gone along with any of the narrative.
Yeah,
from the beginning, and in my awareness of things, and I choose to participate or not to participate. And I mostly don't live in towns or cities. You can ask everybody. I spent my whole summer in a very remote location running a gold mining operation up in the Yukon and away from the world. I don't step into the world too often, so I don't have to worry about that. No, I do not participate.
Oh, I wasn't implying that you did it all, but I just meant to say that that wherever we are, there are people, and you used the word choice, and that's what a powerful word to remember, that we are all of us making a choice to participate or not, and what you participate in, you grow, and what you choose to grow, well, that's what you do. And I guess I'm just so happy to have found other musicians. When it first happened, and Melbourne's a very musical town, you know, a lot of great musicians come out of Melbourne. It's probably was the capital of music in Australia. I think that's over now. But, you know, there's so much of that supposed free thinking musicians and loving and open for choice and empowering other people. The illusion that lifted, you know, that so many weren't embodying that. And so I was really disappointed that I actually thought I can't make music in there. I don't know anyone I can make music with, you know, play gigs and it was very isolating. You know, a year later or so, I started Free the Nation Music, and musicians came, and now we have, you know, over 330 musicians who are proudly saying, I stand for freedom of choice. That means there's also a lot out there that, for whatever reason, don't bother to email me. They don't want to be on the website. That's cool. Of course, you don't have to be to stand for freedom, but that means that, you know, there's so many more who are around the world just going, hey, it's really simple. You've got a choice and I've got a choice, and I respect that.
What an evolutionary shift over the past 40 years, because I was reading what Conspiratory had to say. Hi, welcome, Conspiratory. I grew up at a time where they were quite liberal and quite outspoken musicians, actors, and something happened to them. over the past 40 years, where now they want to be politically correct or politically in tune with the political beast, and it has to do with how they make their money, and as to who's paying them to perform. I think follow the money.
Sure.
Well, it's all got to do with the corporate-run music industry. I mean, it used to be dominated by a handful of corporations because only they could afford like the recording equipment and the equipment to make to press LPs. Which to this day we don't have a technology that's cheap enough to reproduce them. And since back then the main source of music was from records, that's why they were so dominant. Nowadays you can reproduce music for free over the internet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's the democratized music.
Yeah, and that's why they're coming for it and censoring, our way. We've got so many tools to, as you say, Delabor, to get our music to each other so quickly. It's just so quick, and to monetize it too. Something like Bandcamp. That's why so many people are upset when I got deleted, because they'd never heard of it. They thought Bandcamp, that's for independent musicians. That's the place we go. That was better than Spotify, better than Amazon, better than Apple, because you had a chance to make a living with something like that. So that's why the oligarchs, come in and they censor and go, oh, well, you got only if you sing the party tune will you be able to make some sort of living as a musician.
And it's interesting that you mentioned the word oligarchs. Usually that word is only reserved for Russian rich people. But how come nobody calls Elon Musk an oligarch? Nobody's calling Zuckerberg an oligarch.
Yeah, you got a point.
And they are far worse in terms of the power that they have, but also the way that they've been marketed to that. And throw in Fauci, throw in the Microsoft guy, whatever his name is, throw them all into it, because they've just had decades combined of marketing that we can trust. These are who we aspire to be. People like this they're amazing. Look what they have done, and we won't question any of their methods. Mm-hmm. The political correctness, I saw that grow over the decades in Melbourne, especially. Is it lefty? What do they call it? I don't know, all the names. It doesn't matter how you try and pigeonhole what it is, but basically it's a fear of expressing yourself. They want us all to be scared of every little effing thing, right? Can I say fuck on this platform?
Yeah, you can.
Yes, you can.
What about homo? Can I say homo? Can I say poof? These are words that I grew up with, right? And I had
gay. I'm
happy
and gay.
Right. I had friends who were homosexual, and they didn't take offense at being called a poof. It's quite a funny Australian word, or it was. Now, I'm even thinking, someone's going to find this video, they're going to take that out of context, and they're going to have me going poof, 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 or whatever.
It's an educational It's an educational show, everybody.
Educational.
Isn't that what you do when you do when you do magic? Isn't it poof?
Poof. That's right.
That's true. Poof. That's very true.
Mm-hmm.
But like art. To me, and music especially, is express whatever you want. Now, if there's no market for it, you'll find out pretty quick that no one really likes you talking that way or singing that way or whatever it is, and you'll find out, right? But to sort of this cancel culture, I mean, what a thing, cancel culture. Imagine that. It tells us what it's doing in its description. It's canceling culture. Culture is growth. Culture is expression. No, we're going to cancel growth. We're going to cancel expression.
Yeah,
exactly. And at the same time, they're labeling everybody who goes against their narrative as a conspiracy theorist. So what they mean by that is we should all be coincidence theorists instead, where everything's a coincidence, right? Everything's a coincidence.
Delabor. I love the way his mind works.
And I got some culture on my bench at home. Lots of culture.
Yeah, there you go.
Are you talking about your yogurt?
You do.
My kombucha, my bread, my ginger beer.
That's it.
Culture.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah.
But it's Tuesday every day, remember? CHOOSEDAY every day.
Do you guys know? Sorry, just to go on.
Right.
I just thinking about this cancel culture thing. Is Owen Benjamin someone that you guys are aware of? I mean, he's an American comedian. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
Dalibor. Yep.
Mhm.
I've been following him for a little while, and I've got to say, even when I started following his feed, I'm like, oh, geez, can you say that? Or what's going on? And he's cancelled on lots of stuff. And he's a comedian who had a lot of success, was in Hollywood films. He's been inside the beast. He's seen it inside and out. And I just find it really interesting watching his feed still and seeing the way, because as a comedian, I remember the great days at, comics that they're before political correctness came in, because I mean they're an anathema, they're an antithesis of each other, aren't they? Comedy, we can make fun of the king and the fool and anything we want, and then cancel culture, political correctness is be careful what you say, right? Well, it's just a joke. It's just a joke. No, it's very serious. And so the joy of living is just we're constantly looking over our shoulder and what can I do? And also people they feel they have the right to say you can't say that. I can say whatever the F I want.
Yeah.
Cancel culture,
Yeah.
political collector says I can be the authority over you because these are the standards that we all agree to on Twitter or on Facebook or down the pub or wherever it is now.
Exactly. That's why everybody who's controversial has moved to other platforms like BitChute or
Rumble, Odyssey.
Rumble,
There's so
Odyssey.
many of them. Oh, so many.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, the purpose is quite apparent. It's to cause confusion, right? Confusion and distraction within our realities, right? It's that constant, bait, that constant bait, right?
Exactly.
Because imagine if you watch it play out too, like we can upset each other. We can say the wrong thing. I might say something, and whether it's in the heat of anger or frustration or just carelessness or just whatever, and it affects someone. It could be my wife, it could be a stranger, it could be my kids, and that's part of life, and then we heal from it, we learn. Or I didn't know that meant that to you when I said it like that, because it means this to me. And this open, I'm getting actually feeling that the emotion rising in me just talking about this. This is the way that we grow, because the culture affects each other, the different elements, and we go, well, what can we say? And is it okay? And how do I put that? And what do I mean when I say that? And I thought you meant that. No, I didn't mean that. And I meant that. And should we hug it out? Because the hug it out, Karen, is what they're scared of. They're scared of, right? We can hug it out.
Yeah.
We can hug it out, because we know that our heart center is just looking to connect and go, I won't wear what you wear, or I would never listen to that music, but there's something else that connects me to you, and that's our humanity.
Mm-hmm.
I think
that's
there's
it. That's why
an energy that's working in opposition to one of the most powerful tools that we have, spiritual tools that we have, is sound, frequency, music. And when we consciously choose to try to put messages out there, like the song we just heard you sing and many, many others like it, there's another energy trying to prevent that from happening, because it's in opposition to the shift.
It's the darkness.
Yeah.
And
it's in our corporations. Go ahead, Dalbert. I know you're going to add on to that.
it's also a lot of symbolism involved in there. Music means freedom, because don't forget, in the past, in like the medieval times, you didn't have mass media, so all these musicians were basically people that had to travel a lot. Same with actors; they all were itinerant. They were all basically nomads. So nowadays, when you have and that's music, it was always like a rebellious thing. It was never like a conformist thing. And speaking of symbolism, when I recently looked at the satellite map of Canberra, I was surprised because it looks exactly like a spider web.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, oh my God, that is so morbid.
Well, it's got the pentagon in there too, doesn't it? The pentagon shape.
Yeah.
The whole pentagon is a defense symbol, but that's it looks like a spider web. I don't know of any capital city that looks like that.
The whole structure of Canberra is been designed purposely
And you know what? Another interesting aspect of Canberra, it has been famous because it's the only place where hardcore pornography is available.
Yeah, I've been told that
Oh, interesting.
even during the height of all the lockdowns, that they had everything permitted over there, like including fireworks, theater, everything was permitted.
That was the one
Whereas-
good thing about Canberra, the fireworks. I remember growing up, we used to like to get some good fireworks when you went to Canberra, and I thought I think that's a bit different, cool. Yeah, it's. I wasn't in a rush to go there, but for the convoy, but I was totally in support of it in spirit. That's why I wrote the song, because to me, the convoy of freedom is what we're on now. All of us here, just open discussion, a willingness to be vulnerable, and to believe and put our energy towards creating a more free version of ourselves, so that we create a better life for us, all of ourselves.
Well, I've seen the Freedom Convoy here in Europe. It was about 3 weeks ago, and they were all heading west. And there were about 2,000 trucks that were parked on the Czech side of the Czech-German border at Rozvadov, and about 500 of them parked on the other side in Germany. They were waiting to be coordinated on their route towards Brussels and Paris. Except that nobody ever found out what really happened to the Freedom Convoy in Brussels. Like, you don't hear about any of it.
Huh.
It's all been suppressed.
Yeah.
Well, in Australia,
Well, it's like
I'll just quickly say, Karen, there was some estimates that 5 million people were at Canberra, but the media didn't cover anything. So a lot of the rest of Australia just don't even know that the biggest protest ever in Australia happened.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I just want to say one thing out of the convoy. When they were all coming past through Gympie, we housed them from northern Queensland as they were moving through, and then they turned around, all of them, and with their trucks loaded up all provisions for us, and they brought them all to Gympie after we supported them on their way through to Canberra. So it's been reciprocal, and we've got with one of our the group that organised the music event, it's just full of produce that's been given from North Queensland. But I just want to tell you something to do with corporations and not to fund any charities. Ian and I and Colleen, we've been baking all week and taking it to different places. I thought, I'll take it into the recovery centre at our centre. I walked there and they're all crosses on them. Weeks though. No one usually sees me angry. To share out, because it wouldn't have been done in a commercial kitchen. It didn't have all the ingredients on it, because it was made from the heart. I've got places I've been dropping it off all week. I'll go find someone. So I walk down our main street that's been flooded, and everyone's still. Most of the shops probably will not be ever filled again. A lot are saying they're not going back in. Anyway, I'm walking through, and they were all so pleased to get fresh scones and rosella jam. So that just tells you, do not donate to the Red Cross.
Mm-hmm.
The corporate charities. You mean?
Yes, the corporate charities, because there's no money. That's how they're getting the money. Because we had those fires a couple of years ago, and there was fundraising done, as you know, Ben, and that money did not go to the fire people, the people that were burnt. The government kept it all.
Yeah, I think most people are aware that historically with charities and very large charities, as far as the differences between what goes in administrative fees and what amount of money floats the whole organization. And I think this is why we're going to be moving from a centralized world and governments, and why we're moving to cleaning up our own backyards. I always said if we'd only worry about cleaning up our own backyards in the world and worry what's in our local area and our neighborhoods, and this is why Ben's doing working as for your flood, right? What you're doing, Ben, because you're doing it at the local level, and this is what needs to be done.
Like they say, charity begins in the home.
That's
well,
right.
Once upon a time, I really do need to say something here. I'm sorry. I really do. Once upon a time, the American Red Cross, Easter Seals, Special Olympics, I worked for every single one of them, and I spent the first 25 or 30 years of my life serving in those organizations and actively participating in Special Olympics. And I worked at national headquarters down at the American Red Cross for over 10 years. And I can tell you right now that every human being that works at that place, whether they're on a voluntary basis or not, believes that they are providing an invaluable service to the community. And we have never handled any kind of fundraising efforts that takes money and gives it to the government. It goes to where it needs to go. Now, the problem is when you have multiple concurrent disasters happening in multiple places throughout the world, sometimes you have to rob Peter to pay Paul, because you have to take the money that was designated for an activity like a burning, and you have to give it to some. It's like a triage. We can't always direct the funds the way we want. But back in 1989, we started doing just that. We started setting it up so that you could make a direct contribution for a specific cause. And I can tell you, as a field worker, that money came to us so that we could get those pillows, those blankets, the food. I worked in that industry for 25 years as a consultant with them. But I was also a volunteer for the American Red Cross, and I was working on those train disaster in D.C. I responded to the disasters, and I could tell you that every dime that was given to us was spent on taking care of those people. So I felt I needed to say that, right? Because it's such a huge part of my life. Mm-hmm. And I have friends who are still doing that, and people that I really care about that are still working in there. And it's a misnomer. I don't know where it came from. I think one time when Elizabeth Dole was in there, as a matter of fact, Elizabeth Dole took the money and used it and appropriated it for something that wasn't designated for the disaster lines that we set up. So there is some interference going on there from time to time, but for the most part, that money gets to where it needs to go for disaster relief. And they are the ones that go out into the community and find folks like Ben to collaborate with. We find folks like Ben who want to put their time in to help coordinate these efforts. So I would say don't cut them out completely, because they do have resources to help.
Well, everyone needs a volunteer. They're doing it from their heart.
They're doing it from their heart. Yeah.
But when you're stopped at the front entrance and said, no, we can't accept that. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Why can't you accept some food? Now, you would have accepted it when you were on the field, wouldn't you, Therese?
Yeah.
You would have accepted it?
Yeah.
That's right.
So there's a level of corruption going on right now that's standing in the way, and that's with everything. It's not just with the disaster relief efforts, but it's people like Ben and the people that he's teaming with that make all the difference in the world, and they are our volunteers in these organizations. But the organizations themselves have the resources to get to places that people like Ben can't get to. So it's a collaborative effort, a teamwork. It's working with them. But when you've got the level of corruption in the government like you have in Australia, well, we do too. We have just different kind of corruption. But you know what's going on there in Australia, so that is what that's changing. You've already won.
Yeah. Yep, we've already won.
It's getting better and better. It's changing.
Yeah. That was that thing that happened to me was something to look at, because I looked at how I reacted to what that was, because, I don't get angry very often, but
Right.
I fumed over that.
I bet
that
you
actually,
did. Mm-hmm.
because I give all the time. And when someone says no to a giving gesture, that really crumbled me,
Yes, it hurts. Yeah.
So I had to look at that.
It reminds me of a situation we had with the flood donations that I was fortunate to be giving out. Is there was someone who I contacted, and because I know her house had been flooded out, I helped clear it up. But she was getting a lot of help from other people, and had and she at first was happy to receive the gift, but then she changed her mind. She said, "No, Ben, there's other people who need it more." So it's and together with the sort of breakdown of the whole concept of government, of a father figure, if you will, looking after us. We give you a little bit of money and we'll trust you just to organise it and make our life good. Okay, I don't have to think about it. We've shirked responsibility as a species or whatever, as a culture, which we're now ready to claim. We're ready to say, well, and I think of a good example of this is here in the Northern Rivers. There's an upper main arm, an area where outside of Mullumbimby, where it goes up in the hills. Now, roads have been, a bridge was swept away or cut in half, and local people started rebuilding the roads. The army didn't come in for a week, and they still have done nothing. They did a photo shoot to show, look at us, we're the army and we're present. Emergency services didn't exist here. The people had to take care of each other, and so they've gone so far as to set up a fundraising. I don't know if it's GoFundMe, which one it is, with a goal of $450,000 to build the infrastructure back of Upper Main Arm and Wilson's Creek, that where houses landslid down. Now, are they going to reach their goal? Is it going to work? I don't know. But the fact that they're thinking, we're collectively thinking about doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
Whenever anyone says, well, I know the government's corrupt, but what can you do? You have to have a government. What about roads? Well, because that's what they always say. Well, we'll build roads. We'll build roads. And I think that we're in this time where we're together struggling against those forces of accountability, responsibility, and shirking it, and corruption. Government. I'm not going to do it. You do it. I'll do it. Leave us alone. There's this thing happening where we're just sort of coming alive to our own responsibility, and there is going to be conflicts of in that separation and then the wholeness that'll come, for us, I think.
Yeah, well, Colleen and I went down and patched up a hole in our road because I didn't want to keep going in with my tyre and, getting shocked. So I carried 9 buckets of some coffee grinds and some blue metal, and we fixed up the hole because I didn't want to keep my tyre going in it. So it's actually held together since the flood went over the hole too. It's still there.
Yeah.
But our road... Yeah.
Can you come to Ocean Shores? We've got a few potholes here. I need help.
We got some over here.
You should see this big concrete mixer that Ian, Jules' husband, when they were pouring their own fountain. I'm like, this is a commercial size, freaking big butt thing, and they're it's like
we put our own driveway in again, Ben, because we had the rocks down the side. We've actually concreting it now so that it won't wash away again.
Yeah.
But anyway,
nothing they can't do. Listen, folks, I just want to give you a heads up because Lori was trying to get my attention as well. It's 10:14. We've been at it for a little over an hour. And I just wanted to take the opportunity to welcome all the folks that joined us after the shout outs in the chat room. We really appreciate you being here. There's so many of you, and I can't even name you all at this point, but we love you all dearly and appreciate your support. And I just wanted to let anybody have some last words before we close out. Brian,
Ben can sing for us.
Ben, do you have a song you want to whip out a lyric to, or one verse?
Yeah, one verse. Yeah, let's do something a little bit. That's good.
All right, that's cool.
Lighthearted.
Yeah.
Lighthearted.
This is your captain speaking.
Every time I hear that, I think about Captain Obvious.
Captain Obvious.
It is Captain Obvious.
Obviously.
Yeah.
This is your captain speaking. I welcome you aboard. Soon we will be leaving and setting our own course. This is your captain speaking. For some I'll take you home. For some you will be needing to go out on your own. Come fly with me. Come fly with me. Where we're going, we don't need runways or planes.
Oh, there. Thank you.
Bravo.
Wow, amazing.
Oh, good job.
Bravo.
Thank
It's
you,
a
Ben.
Beautiful voice.
Beautiful voice. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
no doubt.
gorgeous. So I just want to mention to everybody on the homepage where Ben Splash is there, where we watched his video. There's also all his little icons there to connect to his Instagram, his Twitter, his Facebook, and his YouTube. They're right there. See, beside him there in the middle.
Mhm.
And then I'll also put his, I guess it was called Bandcamp or something.
Bandcamp, yeah,
Ben,
Bandcamp.
I'll put your link to your Bandcamp and to your Captain speaking there where I have it on the right. I'll put the direct link to that as well. So I'll do
Thank you
that
so much.
today. So yeah, you can connect. It all works there. So all those links work to get in touch with you there.
Great. Thank you so much.
Oh no, you're welcome. No, thank
Such
you.
a pleasure. Such a
thank you.
pleasure.
Yeah, we
Can I also
really,
say just one more
Yes.
thing? If there are any musicians out there who would like to add their name to freethenationmusic.com, it's simply a matter of emailing me, freethenationmusic@protonmail.com, with your name, a few URLs to your sites, and what country you're from, because we have people from all over the world, and we'll add you there, and you'll help grow this freedom movement. And if you're a music
I was going to
fan,
say that.
yep. If you're a music fan and you want to listen to musicians who believe in freedom of choice, musicians with integrity and heart and spirit and courage, we have a whole list of playlists. They're mostly Spotify. Well, they're all Spotify. So if you listen to Spotify, but they're all playlists from all genres, country, hip hop, blues, you name it, is there. And also you can connect to all those musicians via our website.
awesome.
Thank you,
Awesome.
Ben.
Excellent.
That's
Thank
excellent.
you.
I was going to ask you, how can we help you? And you just answered the question.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
You can help that way. And one other way you can help is at the moment is probably buying buy the Free the Nation song on Bandcamp, or any of my music personally, because Free the Nation music is basically me. So I pay the costs. My brother is a graphic designer and he's done a beautiful website for us. And
Nice.
so fundraising, what we do is we've put on concerts for everybody. So no papers required, none of that stuff. And that's the way we can pay musicians who who want to play that way. So we're very much about trying to create an alternative economy that is a free economy. So musicians get paid. There's no restrictions on people coming. But any fundraising I can do through my own music and through people who want to buy at Bandcamp, you can pay whatever you want there. Will be very appreciated and will directly help us keep building this movement.
Excellent. And what about the fundraising efforts you're doing for the disaster relief? If anybody wants to make a contribution to target the folks that you're trying to get going, to help get the communities going again, is that on your website?
It's not. I'm going to do a post about that soon, because the international donations, I don't know, it seems a bit harder for bank transfers for some reason. I don't know. So people have been doing PayPal, but I've spent the last week sort of managing that, and it's taken up all of my time. So what I'm going to do now, because, just running those Excel sheets and making sure I'm accounting for every dime, it's difficult. That's why there's administration fees if people do it that way. my parents chipped in some money, and my dad sent me a message. He said, you know, I don't mind if you can use what we sent to cover your fuel costs. And I thought that was very thoughtful of him because, you know, it was costing me my time, but that was what I wanted to donate and could. But I took my dad's offer, and that was very nice. So it meant, you know, I could just get some petrol for driving around and seeing everyone. But otherwise, everything else, every cent went straight to the people that needed it. So, but there are a couple of people that have got GoFundMes, and I'll put something that I've already donated to, but they probably, you know, need more. So I'm going to put a link in one of my socials or all of them so that people can find those.
Okay.
Because they can see the video, they can see how they've been affected, and they can know who they're helping.
Great.
Awesome.
Outstanding.
Thank you, Ben.
Wonderful.
Thanks, Ben.
Yes, thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank
spending
you.
your time with us. And
I wish I was a musician too, but I only took piano for 4 years. So all I can do is I can read sheet music, but that's about it.
Oh. Well, I wish I could read sheet music better. So, you know, we want something from each other.
I love that.
well, we're going to put some intents out there. Everyone here, we'll put some intents out that the folks in Australia continue to receive the love and support and energy that they need to recover from these issues, and you in particular, we send you strength and energy to keep that vibe up the way you've been doing, and to give you encouragement, support, and all the protection that you need in the work that you're doing to help service others and provide value to others. And we know Source has your back. Right. All right. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful weekend. And for anyone out there who needs, just know we're all here for you. And if you ever want to come on the show, just let us know. And thank you again for everything. And thank you, panel.
Yes.
You, Brian and Jules, you keep bringing on these wonderful people, and you guys are great. And you're helping to build this community, and we really,
very much appreciated. Yep.
Very much so.
Thank you.
All right, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye,
All your
Ben.
gifts and talents.
Yeah, bye.
Enjoy always.
Much love to everyone.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.